Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at Rufflet in the Open Great League. Why Rufflet? Because recently we got a change to the Noctowl, which is now out of the meta, and Rufflet actually has a lot of really good matchups. This Pokemon is the same typing as Noctowl, while getting also Aerial Ace, which recently got buffed, plus Brave Bird, making it a very cool Pokemon to use right now as it breaks apart the Lickitung plus a Medicham core, which is really nice. We're going to use as a safe up here the Mandibus. We're running Foul Play on this, which is not what you really want to run. I just forget to change it prior and I didn't really want to change it midway through, but Dark Pulse would be a little bit better in my opinion, just because you already have Aerial Ace, which is a cheap move anyway, and you're going to do more damage with Dark Pulse, like also damage per energy, so you don't really need like Foul Play as a bait move at all. So definitely I would go for Dark Pulse instead. But here we're going to, for example, encounter the Lickitung. We're going to be able to go for an Earthquake with our Swampert, which is going to get them low, and we can now swap into our Rufflet as we're gonna get out the Gligar. I am going to let the first move go through here actually, which is going to be Night Slash, which does less damage I think than the Aerial Ace as well, allowing me to now go for the Brave Bird. Gonna get an easy knockout here. The opponent's Lickitung has nowhere to go, and Rufflet is already showing off why this Pokemon can have some potential. I actually should have shielded this move up just so I can win this game just with my Rufflet, but I'm going to now take this game home with my Swampert, which will be able to just reach another charge move, winning us this first game. I definitely went positive with this team, which was really nice, but what I kind of want to do maybe next time, I might build a new Rufflet. You see the AVs on the right side? It is not fully XL or anything like this. It is a 15 attack, and this is not really ideal. I'm going to check right now on the site as well real quick on how much this is going to actually impact it, because I feel like it does impact it quite a bit. Here I was very slow at swapping out because I was not really paying attention to the screen, and as you see, a victory bell while you're not paying attention to the screen against the Swampert is not really ideal, but at least you're going to be able to still knock that one out, as you can still go for a Brave Bird against the opponent's Bastion, getting them a little bit lower actually, which does more damage than I expected. But as you can see here right now, we're going to have our Swampert coming in. They actually get to the move a little bit earlier than I expected, which is not really ideal, but as you can see, we use a shield. We can go for a charge move here and try to get them low. And hopefully they're going to have another Grass type in the back, which they have, and my Swampert just barely survives with a few HP left. But I can just go for the Aerial Ace spam. I'm fairly certain that they actually could learn Stone Edge on this Pokemon, so I might have to invest a shield here as well. I'm not sure if it's actually true, because, sorry, I'm not an expert for this Pokemon. I have never really used the... Actually, I used it, I think, in the Sinnoh Cup, the Torterra. But other than this, I never really used it. So it's not really in my comfort zone, to be fair. So you will see here right now that they go for 2 baits, which is great for them. I expect them to swap out any second, but they didn't. So I'm forced to use a charge move here right now, as they're now going to swap out into their Bastion, allowing me to go for 1 charge move still, knock them out with that one, and even my Swampert going to be able to knock out the Torterra, as both the Mudshot as well as the fast move of Torterra with Razor Leaf is taking 2 turns, so they were able to knock each other out at the same time, winning me the game. This game was the first game I played with this team, and I was like, how mad is this one? We're going to encounter a Shadow Granbull, which is really bad for my team. Like, honestly, like, Charm Pokemon in general are very bad for my team. In comes next, what's called the Wigglytuff here. Wigglytuff against me is also really bad. I decided to go into my Rufflet, hoping that there's something like a Medicham or something in the back here, so I can just go for a full farmland against the opponent here. Of course, we're gonna get a little bit low because they just don't have the bulk that we could have had if we would have been fully XL with a little bit of a better IV spread. But as you can see, we can still go for a charge move against the incoming Shadow Alone Ninetales. So, welcome to the Charm world. We have triple Charm against us, but we're actually going to be able to nuke them away, and now it's only the Granbull. Can Mandibus win us this game? Let's take a look at this one. We will see the Aerial Ace coming through against the opponent, which is going to get the shield, but the second one is coming through as well, which is going to get the knockout, please. No, it does not, but we still have a shield left, and they go for a charge move, allowing me now to go for 1 ring attack, and this is all it takes. So we were actually able to completely destroy the triple Charm team here with a team that's fairly weak against Charm Pokemon. Next game, we have a little bit of an easier time as the opponent forfeits after 5 seconds already, not even seeing my final Pokemon. But afterwards, you're of course going to have a worse matchup here against a Pelipper. In comes the Lantern. You see me swapping into the Rufflet here, because Rufflet is the worst answer to the That's called the Pelipper, so I kind of want to get this out of the way first. But look at the damage here. We were actually able to force a shield against the opponent's Lantern, which is absolutely wild. And as you can see, we're going to be able to now go back into our Lantern, into our Swampert here against the Lantern, allowing to get away the hardest answer for our Pokemon in the back, which is going to be the Mandibuzz. Also allowing me to overfarm by quite a bit and go for a Hydro Cannon here, which is going to be way, way better. And yes, by the way, I'm looking it up at the side right now. Having a 0-15-15 is actually not that much better. Actually, Rufflet with high attack is going to allow you to beat Lickitung, Mantine, and Noctowl, as well as Diggersby. You're only going to lose out against the Shadow Lone Ninetales, as well as the Dunsparce. So actually, high attack is better for Rufflet as a sweeper, which is kind of interesting, which I didn't really expect, at least in the one-shield scenario. In the two shields, you're going to lose more matchups with that one, so I would still recommend you to go for a higher bulk instead. So yeah, we're going to have here the Gligar against us, which is a very bulky Pokemon. So here I wish, for example, that I had the Dark Pulse over the Foul Play. I'm still going to try to snipe them with my Swampert, being able to knock them out here, but they're still going to have the Pelipper in the back. They can go for a charge move here, which I don't know how much is really going to change, but I can just try to go for the Aerial Ace spam. We had 100 energy directly here, but at this point, I have to hope that they're going to shield up this one, and maybe I can still get to a foul play and knock them out with that. I don't think an aerial ace would be enough, but we actually get to the foul play here in terms of the energy, but sadly, a weather ball is actually enough to take us out of this range, which I didn't really expect at that point. But we can now move on to the next game. Sableye in the lead. I can go for a Hydro Cannon and swap out eventually, because I kind of want to catch, of course, and move on to my Mandibuzz, which is going to be able to resist the foul play from the opponent, as well as the fast move, which works out really well as the opponent goes for a charge move here right now, which is going to get shielded, or not shielded, but like gets onto my Mandibuzz, which is going to be very nice for me. So, in comes next the Aerial Ace against the opponent's Dugong, which is going to do not as much damage. Dugong is definitely a tricky Pokemon to deal with, and honestly, I don't know why. I feel like the meta right now is just not really that nice for Swampert. Like, I feel like back in the day, like the meta prior was a little bit better to play Swampert. Right now, I don't really feel like it is the best Pokemon to use. So that's kind of interesting. Like, honestly, there was nothing. I guess Earthquake got changed, right? Like, Earthquake does less damage now, which I completely forgot about. So maybe this is the reason for it. But I feel like still that Earthquake, like that the Swampert itself is not really the best Pokemon to play at this point. But here we're going to now get the Hydro Cannon against the opponent's Sableye. We are 2 shields down, which is definitely not ideal. But we're gonna see now the Dugong comes back in. I can still go for another Hydro Cannon. And let's see what they're going to have in the back here. We're going to get some more damage onto them. We hope that we can farm them all the way down. I can catch the move onto my Mandibuzz, which is also really nice for me, as they're gonna go for the Icy Wind here. And we see the Alone Sensation in the back, which is basically game over. We can actually take one charge move here, which is kind of funny. But that's basically it, as well, as we are now going to have to go for the Aerial Ace bait. Maybe we can still hit a Brave Bird against them. Let's see. Maybe Brave Bird is enough to knock them out. We will find out now, because this is going to be just single resisted, and we do a ton of damage here with this nuke move. But sadly, it is just barely not enough to knock them out. And so we're going to now go ahead and go for the, Hydro Cannon, which doesn't really matter too much, as the opponent's still going to have the shield. So, let's take a look at the next opponent. Guslord is completely horrible for me. Guslord is literally the worst possible Pokemon here. So, we are going to try to catch a move here, which works out super well. But there's no reason for them not to go for the Dragon Claw over like something like a Crunch or something here, because Dragon Claw is definitely going to pressure me more as well. And of course, if we get Hardwalled once, we're going to get Hardwalled twice, with an Azumarill swapping in against our Mandibuzz, which is not really ideal either. So we're going to be able to play this matchup out, but it's just not really the best matchup in general, of course. We're going to do resisted damage with our fast move. Aerial Ace is not really going to chunk too much. They're going to do super effective charge damage anyway, like no matter what they want to run, unless they have a single move with Hydro Pump. So it is not really ideal, but at least we're going to have here a CMP type, which is nice. And as you can see here, what the opponent is going to go for, which is going to be interesting, it's going to be the Play Rough. So they're running Play Rough Hydro Pump on that knowledge that we just gained. I'm going to go for an Earthquake just to get the knockout. Fairly certain Hydro Cannon would have not done enough damage here, but maybe I would have been wrong. Maybe I should have gambled it, to be fair. But I'm going to be able to still go for Hydro Cannon here, try to get them low. But now it's Rufflet against the world. Like, honestly, unless they're going to have something super weak against me in the back, which they don't, which is going to be the Tapu Fini. We're in a tough spot, but maybe, just maybe, we can still hit a Brave Bird and still clutch through this one, as we can get the shield advantage, like the shield here from the opponent. I'm going to use my shield, but maybe they want to keep their shield alive, who knows. Even then, it's going to be a little bit of a trickier one. But I can still go ahead and go for the Brave Bird. This Brave Bird is coming through, but gonna get shielded, so we're going to skip this battle and we can move on into the next one. We're going to encounter the Medicham in the lead, which is going to be a little bit awkward, but we can try to catch and move on to our Mandibuzz later on, which is definitely fine, because our backline is really good against the Medicham. Our lead is neutral, so Medicham is not the biggest issue. But here we're gonna see a Galvantula, and yeah, I don't know what really happened in this game here in general. We should have went for the move a little bit earlier, because now we're going to be debuffed. But Galvantula, of course, now where we also had already the community day for the Grubbin, is maybe not your first choice electric and bug type Pokemon. Still, I think it's better than the Charger bug. But here we're gonna see that are you going to actually be able to still survive there, because it's a cross poison? But I did not really realize it, and I didn't really expect it, so I didn't go for my charge move, which is a huge issue, because now the opponent going to be able to get their jump off onto my Swampert, as I have to swap out now, use a shield against a potential acrobatics, but they're going to have the Medicham still with energy in the back, so we're in a really tough spot right now. If I just went for the charge move, I would have been so much better off, because I could have aligned my Pokemon, which would have been nice. But like this, we're going to have the Jumpluff aligned against our Swampert, but Rufflet does not care. Rufflet is going to be able to just go for the Brave Bird, knock out first Pokemon, and in comes now the Jumpluff, where we can still go for an Aerial Ace, which is going to get the opponent very low. And as we can see right now, we can just try to stay in, force the opponent to throw a charge move. I'm not sure if they're going to have now 2 charge moves already. I don't think they do, and they definitely don't, as they can still reach the Hydro Cannon in order to knock out the opponent's Jumpluff, which is going to be amazing for us, as we can now move on into the next game. We're going to have the Swampert against the Deoxys defense against us, which is going to be fine as well. We can just go for a Hydro Cannon against the opponent, and this is going to be okay, as Hydro Cannon is coming through, going to get the shield from the, not the shield, but the damage on against the opponent here, as we will see the opponent going for one Thunderbolt with their Deoxys, and we see a Gligar coming in. Again, here I would have liked to have Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse is just the stronger charge move to use, as it does more damage. I think it's like 70 damage for 45 energy with the Foul Play, and it's like 80 damage for 50 energy with the Dark Pulse, which is like slightly better. So it just also a little bit more of a difference compared to like the Aerial Ace. So I wish to have the Dark Pulse on this Pokemon. I would not really recommend you to go for Foul Play nowadays. But in the end of the day, it's not the biggest difference. Like, it's not going to make the matchups way different. But here, for example, they survive with a few HP left. And I think if I went for Dark Pulse, I would have had a better matchup in general. I still have to go for a charge move, because I don't want to get hit by the energy that they stored onto the Gligar, which they actually stored quite a lot of energy. And we're going to see in the back the Lickitung, which is going to be amazing for us. So we can go for a charge move here. They're going to go for the charge move here, which is going to be also interesting, which is going to be the Thunderbolt. So now I know that they need 5 more to get to the Psycho Boost, and I can just farm them all the way down. And now Rufflet is time to sweep this game. We're going to use a shield against the opponent here, but I should be able to reach 2 Brave Birds in time, so I'm gonna go for that. First Brave Bird coming through, going to get the damage onto the opponent, and 1 more Aerial Ace, it's all it takes, and now we are able to actually knock out the opponent. They just decided to forfeit this game basically with that. And Rufflet came in clutch. Next game coming up, we're going to have a Medicham in the lead. This is not really ideal for us. We're going to try to swap onto a charge move here, which is actually working fairly well. They went for the charge move on purpose though, as you were able to see here as well. But they're going to decide to swap out into a Diggersby, which is fine for us. But nowadays, Diggersby is running Hyper Beam, which is going to be a neutral attack, which is going to do some very decent damage against me. So it's going to be something I kind of want to shield up here. But it's a really awkward spot for me. I kind of don't want to throw energy here, but I kind of need to throw energy in order to get the switch clock a little bit further down, as we have a move stored onto our Swampert. I should have maybe not thrown this one and tried to keep this energy and then swap out before, but I'm going to be able to snipe the opponent here, but not before the opponent can just swap now into their Medicham, go for their own charge move and knock me out most likely. But I'm still going to be able to reach a Hydro Cannon, which is going to be nice, as we're going to get the shield from the opponent, allowing me to at least have now the equal shields against them. And like this, I'm going to swap out into my Mandibuzz, which is going to be able to go for some Aerial Aces. But I make a huge mistake here coming up next. We're going to see the Ice Punch coming through, and they're going to decide that they're going to stay in first, with the opponent staying here in the Medicham, but we're going to get the final Pokemon here, which I just automatically swapped into my Rufflet. It's going to be the Sandslash. It would have been better if I stayed in there and kept my Rufflet in the back, but sadly I didn't, and this is going to lose me the game here, as the opponent is going to be able to just go for the Ice Punch, do a ton of damage. I'm going to be forced to use a shield here. I'm going to try to bait the opponent in using a shield against me, but as we see here, they're gonna use a shield. I can still go for Brave Bird, but we saw already earlier, this just barely doesn't get the knockout. And this is going to be it for this game as well. So this is going to be it also for today's video. Rufflet is a very cool answer, or basically Pokemon that now has more play, as the Noctowl is gone. And I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like. See you then, and bye bye.